Open a newspaper today and you might see politicians celebrating that inflation is supposedly crashing. But then you walk into a grocery store, look at the price tags on eggs, and realize your bills are higher than ever. To understand what is actually happening to your wallet, we have to look at the math separating inflation from the inflation rate. This chart shows the price of a standard item over time. If a $100 item goes up to $110 over a year, that $10 jump is the inflation, and the inflation rate is 10%. Now, let's say the next year the news reports that the inflation rate drops to 2%. People cheer. But that doesn't mean the item costs $100 again. It means the price compounded on top of the old increase. It's now sitting at $112.20. The damage is permanent. When you hear that the inflation rate is falling, it does not mean prices are going backwards. It just means the cost of living is rising at a slower speed than it was yesterday. Celebrating a dropping inflation rate creates a dangerous illusion. It blinds everyday consumers to the reality that their purchasing power has been eroded, even when the headlines claim victory. This high cost of living is actively worsening right now because of fresh global supply shocks. Recent conflicts in the Middle East have disrupted key shipping routes like the Strait of Hormuz, cutting oil supply while global demand stays high. This chart shows how those supply chain issues hit home. Driven by surging energy costs, overall inflation recently spiked to 4.2% a year. But if we strip away volatile energy and food costs, what is left is a solid, stubborn 3% core inflation rate that refuses to budge. Because oil is required to transport goods, produce fertilizer, and stock grocery shelves, those high costs bleed into everything. They act as a new, immovable floor across the entire economy. Because these higher baselines are baked into the system, anyone trying to survive purely on a standard paycheck is trapped, forced to pay a permanent premium just to keep the lights on and put food on the table. The traditional methods of surviving economic pressure are failing, and the math hits the most vulnerable citizens first, retirees trying to live on government safety nets. Let's look at the numbers. Americans on Social Security received a 2.8% raise. But remember that 4.2% inflation rate? If income rises 2.8%, but basic survival rises 4.2%, you take an immediate loss in purchasing power. And the math gets worse. Medicare costs, which are pulled directly out of those Social Security checks, spiked by 9.7% over the same period. The numbers show that relying on government safety nets guarantees you are growing poorer each year, as the system is structurally designed to work against fixed incomes. The working class isn't faring any better. You might be taking home more physical dollars in your paycheck today, but according to government data, real wages, what your money can actually buy, fell by 0.7% over the last year. Then there is the responsible saver. You do what you're told, parking your extra cash in a standard bank account earning maybe 1%, or a high-yield account maxing out around 3.5%. This graphic shows the reality of that saving strategy. Even your absolute best case 3.5% yield is instantly crushed by 4.2% inflation. Add in the capital gains taxes you owe on that tiny interest, and your savings are actively decaying. Standard education teaches us to work hard and save cash, yet the modern financial system is built to punish anyone holding that same currency. The old formula of getting a good job and simply saving your money has become a trap that continuously transfers your buying power away. Here is the flip side. While everyday consumers are punished by rising prices, investors are structurally rewarded by them. When you pay more at the checkout register for groceries or gas, that money translates directly into higher revenues and increased asset valuations for the investors who own those businesses. Let's look at the historical proof. This chart tracks the economy from 2019 to today. Cumulative inflation eroded the value of the US dollar by roughly 30%. But over that exact same time period, the stock market grew by approximately 155%. We are looking at two economies running in parallel. In one, external pressure destroys the value of cash. In the other, that exact same pressure exponentially accelerates the value of assets. Escaping this cycle relies on a single principle: ABB, always be buying. Consistent growth requires converting fiat currency into assets every single week, regardless of whether you're starting with $10 or $1,000. Of course, this takes nerve. Recessions and market crashes are inevitable parts of the cycle. We saw brutal drops in 2000, 2008, 2020, and 2022. Yet the data shows that even if you had incredibly bad luck and invested your money right before those historic crashes, holding on to those assets long-term still resulted in wealth today. Inflation is an unstoppable force. You have a choice today: tie yourself to a shrinking paycheck, or buy assets, take control, and let it grow your wealth.